Good evening. I hope y'all can hear me. I am Cleveland Kate, and as of right now, I will be hosting the Our Turf Podcast College Edition, our final episode of the season. Michelle had a family situation that she needed to deal with. All good, but she's going to be dealing with that. And Sonia's on her way home from work. We're trying to be safe, so I told her to wait to dial into the show until she gets home. So hopefully she will be joining us. Shout out to those of you who are in the chat already. Hello, Lisa. Hello, Kristen. If you are watching this anywhere other than YouTube, please feel free to come on over to the YouTube channel, the Our Turf Football Podcast channel, where you can write comments and I can see them, and I'll do my best to put them up on the screen, answer questions, do that kind of a thing. This is going to be our last college podcast of the season. As many of you know, the national championship game was last week. We'll talk a little bit about that. And then I want to talk about some of the prospects that we've been watching play all year, especially in the playoffs, and where I think they're going to be going in the draft. This is sort of the time of year now where the football season ends from a playing perspective, but our work does not. Those of us who watch college football watched a lot of these young men. We'll see them in the Senior Bowl, the Shrine Bowl, those kind of things coming up in the next few weeks. Lisa's down in Mobile at the Senior Bowl, so you'll have to check out the Our Turf Football Twitter and other accounts to see if she has anything fun to share with us there. And I'm sure she'll talk about her experience next Tuesday on our NFL podcast. And then we have the Combine coming up at the end of February, where we'll be looking at a lot more of these young men who are getting out of college and entering the draft and going to get themselves a big boy job now. It's almost a little, for me, a little anticlimactic. They've been getting NIL money, name, image, and likeness money, so they've at least been getting paid. I kind of like the old school days where they were finally going to get, a little monetary compensation for the wear and tear on their bodies and their talents and those kind of things. So, Big Red is checking in with us. Let me see what Big Red has to say. Hot take. South Carolina makes a push for the playoff next year with Kendall Briles in at OC. I thought they tried to make a push this year. I don't doubt that they're gonna have a much better season next year. A lot more folks are going to be talking about them besides just us here, and I think that program is really on the upturn. So love what they're doing in South Carolina. For those of you who missed it, the Big Ten brought you its third national champion in a row. 2 years ago, it was the University of Michigan. Last year, it was my Ohio State Buckeyes. This year, it was the Indiana Hoosiers. They took care of Miami in very dramatic fashion, 21-27. There was an awful lot to unpack from that game. It was very, very well balanced in a lot of ways, and it came down to the very, very end. When I pull up some of the stats, Indiana did have the ball more, so they were able to manage the clock. They had 10 more minutes of possession, 5 more first downs, but they had less total yards. They had less passing yards, but more rushing yards. Penalties were pretty even at 7 and 5. The big thing is there was one turnover in that game, and it was the very last play of the season for the Miami Hurricanes. And, Lisa from Our Turf Football and Michelle, who's been doing this college podcast with us all year, huge fans of the U. I don't really have a dog in the fight. I would have loved it for them if Miami had won. I loved Indiana winning because that's sort of that whole Cinderella story, and they're a Big Ten team. So I was not sitting there with my heart beating and my blood pressure going and everything going crazy during the game like I'm sure those ladies were. But one of the things that we had talked about during the year when Miami did have some of their losses, in fact, they didn't even make it to the championship game for the ACC, but they played a lot of ranked opponents and beat them. So that's why they ended up getting ranked where they did and making it to the playoffs. But there were two challenges for Miami this year, was overcoming some bad coaching decisions from Mario and Carson Beck not turning the ball over. And he had some rough spots this season, but I will say the last couple weeks of the regular season and then through the playoffs, he looked pretty good. He was making good decisions. And really in that game, It wasn't until like I said, the last play for that offense where he threw that interception that just sealed the deal for Indiana. They were marching. I feel bad for him. That's not how you want to end your season, your college career, any of that. We watched a lot of pro games that the weekend leading up to that where there were 4, 5, 6 interceptions. Josh Allen had horrendous games. There were teams that had no business winning, turning the ball over like crazy. There was one in the national championship game. You can overcome an interception in the first, second, third quarter, a turnover of any kind. You can find a way to come back and fix that. When you're driving at the end of a game, when you're down in the fourth quarter with, a minute on something on the clock, you can't come back from that. So hats off to Indiana. They had a great season. Their defense did what it needed to do. They got the 21-27 win. And, we're looking at next year. What I find interesting about Indiana is when I look at the draft prospects, the guys that have claimed, declared for the draft, it's really Fernando Mendoza, their quarterback. He's going to go number 1 to the Raiders. It's a done deal. I don't know why there's no other discussion to be had. We're just starting now from 2 on to figure out what's going to happen. But there's not a lot of other guys on that team that you're going to see go in the top 10. And that's what's interesting to me is it was such a team effort. It really wasn't dependent on superstars. I found Mendoza to just be kind of meh all year, but he didn't have turnovers in bad spots. He had in the games where he had trouble with that, it was in the first half. So we had that whole second half of those games to make up for any bad decisions in the first half. So, I mean, he's serviceable. He's got that thing that Lisa and I both really like in a quarterback. He's tall. So I will take tall over a lot of other things. But some of the guys that that we saw in the playoffs that I think are worth really talking about. This should not be a surprise to any of you. Big Red. Lisa won't like it. I'm calling Diego Pavia to the Dolphins. He better not. Aside from all the other issues I have with Diego Pavia, he's short. Not a fan. I'm not a fan. Sam Darnold's going to the Super Bowl. He's the first quarterback from that class, 2018, I believe it was, to make it to the Super Bowl. And he's got height going for him. So I love tall. I need tall in my quarterbacks. Let me bring up my notes. I'm hoping Sonia will get here soon. There's Sonia.
Hi.
Sonia, are you driving and chatting?
I'm driving and chatting, but it's okay. We're
All
good.
right, be safe. I just talked a little bit about the national championship game. Hats off to Indiana. Tough break for Miami to have their season finish on an interception.
I know, right?
That's something that's going to stay with you all through the offseason. And it's something I know Carson Beck is going to get asked about at the combine. It's probably going to be one of the first questions that he's going to get asked there. Did you have any real takeaways from the game that you wanted to share? Because if not, I'm just going to run through some of the prospects that we're going to see, I think, in the first round of the draft.
Yeah, that's fine. I think my biggest takeaway is that Indiana was for real. And, I mean, they were the best team all year long. So hats off to them. And what a team.
Yeah, they did a very nice job, all things considered. I'm just saying. So overall for this year's draft, if you were just drafting players at any position just based on talent, where the experts, the so-called experts, believe they do scoring, they give them grades based on just overall performance, and then they rank them that way as an overall football player. Fernando Mendoza comes in 4th in this year's class, but we all know he will go number 1. He's a top-ranked quarterback, and quarterbacks always go at the top of the draft. What I find interesting about him is when I look at his statistics this year versus last year, he was at Cal for the last 2 years before he came to Indiana, and his statistics were very, very similar. He had a much higher completion percentage this year. He completed 72% of his passes versus 68 and 63 in prior years. But he had 3,500 yards this year versus 30 versus 3,000 or even 1,700 is for his first year. So
Wow.
did a lot better from a yardage perspective with what they had from a team standpoint in Indiana. He also threw for 41 touchdowns this year and had no interceptions. Prior years, 16-6, 14-10. So somebody had asked if he had declared for the draft last year where he would have gone. And I'm telling you, he would have gone undrafted. Looking at his stats at Cal, they were just not good enough to get him anywhere. He needed that change to Indiana.
He did. And I also wonder, that just probably goes to coaching and systems and where you fit in.
Big Red says the IU O-line was awesome. O-line is so important for that kind of thing. And coaching, was he coached up? Did he fix the problems? Did they run better offensive schemes for him so that he did more throwing than he had in previous years?
Probably all the above. And then, you look at that, and then is he going to go, are the Raiders going to be able to adapt to that and be able to show, or, be able to get him in a situation that is going to be very comfortable for him?
Yeah. We got a question in the chat from Big Red on the Dabo Sweeney push to save college football and prevent tampering. I don't know if how familiar you are with this. His press conference last week was interesting. I like it when people who have committed crimes are the ones who like to tell you how to avoid those crimes or how you should be punishing other people who do those crimes. It's kind of like when big companies hire hackers to do their computer security, right? Because those people know where the cracks and the leaks and things in the systems are. But he brings up a very good point. And ultimately, his point is if there are not penalties, then there are not rules. And you have coaches texting players who have gone into the transfer portal, who have agreed and signed an NIL contract to go play for a team. They move there, they're sitting in class 3 days later, and they're getting texts from a coach at another school saying, we can get you out of that contract. We can do you a sweeter deal. Like, that's not cool. That's not cool at all. And his point that there's not punishment for that is valid. If there's no punishment, then there's no rule.
Exactly. If there's no punishment, there's no rule. And if you allow that, then it's going to be a free-for-all. And these kids are going to get screwed up with so bad, I think. And it destroys the integrity of the system as well. And it kind of just shows that you're only there in one regard just to make money. And
if we're going to continue with the illusion that they're student athletes, then you have to allow them to be students. That's the argument that I hear from people about when the transfer portal opens and closes, to give people time to get to their next school, to start classes, to do that. I have been a proponent for years of taking the top 32 schools, take the Big Ten, the SEC, and then a bunch of other schools, and just make them minor league NFL teams. Give them 10 roster spots for guys that can get drafted out of high school to play for an NFL team, and put them in the college, and just understand that 10 of these guys are professionals and everybody else is a student, because it's skirting that line so bad now. And the NFL will never do it because they're getting a free minor league system. Doesn't cost them anything.
Doesn't cost them a dime. Does not cost them a dime. And that's exactly what they're doing. And it's gonna not be pretty, I think, if this goes unchecked. And not even, just for the teams, but if the kids, like if schools can sue these kids for leaving and, breaking contracts, that's gonna get real nasty.
Yes, completely agree. So let's talk a little bit about some of the prospects that I'm seeing talked about all over the place for this year's draft. We'll talk about some of the guys that are available that are going to go in the first round for sure. There's an awful lot of defensive talent coming out this year. I think Ruben Bain Jr. may be the single best player available in this draft. He's an edge rusher. He is 6'3", 275, and he's still young enough that he could put some weight on and get even bigger. But he has, what do I got here? 9.5 sacks this year, 1 forced fumble, 54 tackles, and 30 solo tackles. And that's huge. His player ranking in the draft, pre-draft system puts him at a 93.1. He is the highest ranked athlete in the draft. Definitely a lot of teams who are going to need him. I was kind of hoping Michelle would be here to talk to us a little bit about him. But we watched him play at Miami this year. We watched him. We heard his name a lot during the playoffs. And then you've got from Auburn, Keldrick Falk, who's the other edge rusher. He's a junior. They're both juniors. He's 6'6", 285. He is considerably taller. He's got 3 inches on Bain, but he's only got about 10 pounds on him. I think he could probably get himself up to 3 with that frame that he has. But he's another player he had 2 sacks this year, 29 tackles, 23 solo tackles. His speed is insane. He runs a sub 540. I'll be surprised if he doesn't run a sub 4.5 at the combine.
He's probably working on
combine.
that right
now. But he's definitely someone to look at. And he's also someone, depending on what the priorities are for the teams as they're drafting, who may fall to one of the better teams and end up going later in the first round, because there are a lot of really quality players that are going to be available. So depending on who needs an edge rusher, I think Ruben Bain goes number 2, and then we'll see where everybody else falls.
I would love another edge rusher on the Lions, just saying.
Yeah, and y'all are having a better draft pick this year because you woefully underperformed.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. So we're going to get somebody.
Yeah, from a safety and a corner perspective, I'm going to always go with my boy, my Buckeye, Caleb Downs. 6 feet 205. He's another one who can use to put on a little bit of weight. He's quick and decisive at the safety position. Mansour Delane from LSU is a corner, 6'0", 190, is also somebody. He had 2 interceptions this year. Caleb had 2. Jermod McCoy is a corner out of Tennessee who had, I think, 4 interceptions this year. He did a lot of the heavy lifting at Tennessee, but if you're looking for a corner or a safety, somebody in your secondary, all 3 of those guys are very hot prospects. Let me see what else do I have on my list. Again, wish Michelle was here. Francis, I'm going to say it's Mauigoa. Mauigoa is an offensive tackle from the U, Miami. 6'6", 315, and I'd put more weight on that boy as well. He is from American Samoa with a name like that. Played at Miami junior. His 40 time that they clocked him at this year was 5'3", which is pretty speedy for someone over 300 pounds. He is just a beast. He's actually available at a couple different slots on the offensive line. So I think he is, kind of that stud that people are going to be looking for.
I want
and then
him.
You've got this. You want all of them, Sonia. You're sound like Dana. You can't have all of them. I don't want Jeremiah Love, running back out of Notre Dame, because I have Quinshon Judkins out of Ohio State we drafted last year, so I don't need him on my Browns. But Jeremiah Love is the kind of running back that I would be okay with going in the top 10. I'm not a fan of running backs going that high because I think they're a dime a dozen from the aspect of if you have a good offensive line, just about anybody can run the ball for you. But Jeremiah Love is the kind of running back who can run the ball even when you have problems at offensive line. He had almost 1,800 yards last year. He was averaging nearly 7 yards a carry with 18 touchdowns, and he had 27 receptions for 280 yards. Not a lot of production at catching, but he is capable. It's something he can work on with his game, and it's definitely something that he can work on with his NFL coaching staff. I think he would be awesome. My position of need for my Browns and where I hope they go is at the wide receiver position. The two single best, double best, the two best wide receivers on my list in this year's draft are Carnell State from Ohio State, Carnell
Yes.
Tate, and Jordan Tyson out of Arizona State. I don't care which one. They are
You just
both
want one of them.
really good. They are both super speedy. They are both, 6'2", 6'3", 200 pounds. Like they're almost the same guy physically and from a speed standpoint. Carnell had 51 receptions, averaging 9 yards a carry, a reception. Tyson had 61, averaging 8. I mean, it's just insane how many touchdowns and yards the two of them racked up for their respective teams this year. They are far and away above the rest. I've got Jordan Love at running back, and then maybe in the second or third round, there's another one. I've got these two guys as first round wide receivers, and then another huge drop before you get to the other wide receivers. So
yeah, agreed.
That's just, sort of the top 10 kind of looking at them. Are there any players you can think of maybe out of Michigan or that you've watched this year that you think are important to keep an eye out for?
Let me see who I did. Our tight end, I can't remember if he declared. I think he did. And Michigan's been producing some pretty decent tight ends. So I can't remember his last name. Daggone it, because my brain is not working.
Let me see if I can find
But
him.
he was pretty. Yes, I want to say it's oh gosh, I thought his last name started with a K. He was 17 or something like that. But no, he was one that I think will be pretty good if he declared. I think he might not be first round, but I think he would go kind of like maybe second roundish or something like that. And I think he definitely would be an asset to any team that he goes to. Our O-line has been pretty good of late, but it's really young, so I don't think anybody off of there is going. Biggest ones that I've been kind of keeping an eye on is Jeremiah Love. I liked him as a running back, and I was really trying to keep an eye an O-lineman, and so Miami's was great. Miami's O-lineman was fan-flippin-tastic.
I think it's Maui Goa. That's how I'm going to say it until Lisa or somebody corrects me. Spencer Fano out of Utah, 6'6", 302 pounds. I consider that to be a smaller school. And Caleb Lomu, both. He was 6'6", 304 pounds. So he got 2 pounds on Spencer. They played really well together at Utah this year. They are both fabulous. And I fully expect them both to go probably first round if you need offensive talent, because the Miami kid's going to go first. But when it comes to offensive line, especially at tackle, I think the two of them are for sure worth a shot. I'm trying to run through my list and looking at they give you these fun school little emblems on all the ranking websites, and I'm looking through them. Kamari Ramsey out of South Carolina at safety, or out of USC at safety, is somebody that I think is quick and speedy and could be available even into the third round. So we'll see. Brandon Sissy out of South Carolina is a junior cornerback. He's 6 foot tall, 190. He runs a 4.3 40. He had an interception this year, 27 tackles and 19 solo tackles. Solo tackles are really difficult because you're out there in space in the secondary, and usually it takes a couple people to get you some help. And so a lot of these guys that have that many solo tackles, it's a big deal.
Totally. It's a very
big red. Jalen Kilgore at South Carolina will be a steal at defensive back. I don't know if I'd call him a steal, dude. You're a little biased, but I think whoever gets him is going to be happy with him. He's got a little bit of work to do. So those are kind of just some of the small school guys that we looked at. I think I'm going to pick Dana's brain on her Montana State guys to see who she thinks might be draftable. And we might talk about that when we go to the combine. We'll talk a lot more draft on the Tuesday show. We've got the combine coming up at the end of the month. So we'll talk about a couple of the guys ahead of time that we're going to be targeting from an interview and a workout perspective, who for sure we want to go see. If there are any guys that you want us to make sure that we look at the combine, please let us know. And then we'll review what we're seeing with you. I think we'll be live from the combine on Tuesday night that week. And then our show the week after, we'll sort of do a recap of that. So
also, I'm kind of surprised that Big Red didn't mention Lamar Sellers, his quarterback. And while I think he is going to be good, I think he might need some loving to get there, but I think he'll be okay. Definitely not first round talent, but I think maybe like a day 2 kind of kid.
Yeah, I completely agree. I agree. From a quarterback class perspective, we all know Mendoza's going first. You've got a couple, again, huge drop. Like, I don't even think they're top 10 or even top 15. They might even be on day 2. You've got Ty Simpson out of Alabama. Garrett Nussmeier out of LSU, who is my favorite, frankly, my favorite quarterback in the draft. Carson Beck out of Miami, who scares me. Cade Klubnik from Clemson. It has got a lot of raw talent, but Diego Pavia at Vanderbilt is he's 5'10". I'm sorry, he's short. Trinidad Chambliss out of Ole Miss. I think between him and Garrett Nussmeier, they have the biggest ceiling. They have the most room to grow and improve.
Yes.
I think some of these guys like Diego Pavia and Ty Simpson have already hit their ceiling and they're as good as they're going to be. But that's just me. And yep, I checked the list. Sellers, it did say he's going to stay. He's not declaring for this year. So
smart move.
A smart man. I think he needs a little more time to reflect and to grow and to do that kind. Someone asked about HBCUs. Who asked? Was that Big Red? Big Red's feeling awful chatty today. From an HBCU perspective, Bruno Onwazor, I think is how you say his name, is an offensive tackle out of Virginia State, is a beast at 6'7", 351. Like, dude is a wall of people. He won Offensive Lineman of the Year in the CIAA last year and is probably going to be the top drafted player from the HBCU. They've got quite a few that we could see going in the first and second round this year. Jonas Fortillion is a wide receiver out of Jackson State at 6'4", 212. He was a redshirted his junior year, actually.
I was about to say, I think I remember covering him last year at the Celebration Bowl, and he was lights out.
Yep. Eric Hunter is a linebacker out of Morgan State, who I think is definitely somebody to take a look at. And then Ashton Grable, offensive tackle and guard. He played both at Florida A&M. I think all three of those guys could go in by the end of the second round. And that's a big deal. So, frankly, Bruno's going to go first round. I would love him in Cleveland. I don't want him at 6. I want a wide receiver at 6.
Yes, you want your wide receiver.
Todd Monken is now the coach of the Cleveland Browns.
It's okay. It's going to be okay.
So Todd Monken was here in 2019. And Baker Mayfield went 6 of 12 with 22 touchdowns and 21 interceptions. And now Todd Monken is back, and he's my head coach.
It's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. We're going to be all right.
I will learn whether or not I love that choice by who we take at 6 in the draft. The Browns have not drafted a wide receiver before the 3rd round since they've been back. And they need to, because this became a very tight end heavy team because my wide receivers can't catch.
Yeah.
Judy, I love you. You can't catch.
You can't catch. That's why you need some wide receivers.
So we'll see what they're doing. If they do something insane and reach for a quarterback at 6, I may have to turn in my card. Because there's not a quarterback at 6 that's worthy of 6. And I saw how they waited till the 5th round to get Dylan Gabriel. Does that mean they're going to get Diego Pavia and all 5'10" of him in the 5th round? Then wait till the 6th round. Do I get 6 feet tall guys in the 6th round? Is that what the rule is?
Yes.
I do think Monken was at Georgia because there was a period of time where half my team was from Georgia. We had Nick Chubb. We had half the team. I felt like half my team was from Georgia. So where did Landry go to school? Jarvis Landry. Anyway, Odell was LSU. I think they were both LSU.
I think Jarvis was LSU, wasn't he?
Yeah, I think they were both LSU because they like to wear the purple and yellow and celebrate things. So those were So GEAUX. So that was really the big stuff I wanted to run through today. Congrats again to Indiana. Had a great season. I thought this college football season was fun. I almost liked my Buckeyes losing early so I could just
relax and enjoy it.
Are you still loving this new format with the playoffs?
It's a lot, I think, but it's fun. I think it's fun. I think it needs to be condensed a little bit more.
Yes.
But
the games need to be closer together.
Yes.
I'm good with the number, but 2 weeks, 10 days between games at the end was ridiculous.
Standardize it.
Yeah.
Standardize it. And
play every week. Just play every week until you're done.
Right. And I don't think that it needs to be more teams. I think this amount of teams is perfect.
Yes. I completely agree.
It is perfect.
Yep.
We don't need any more. This is beautiful.
Yeah, I'm good with it. It's what, year 2 of this? I'm good with it. Let's leave it alone for a little while. Let's let it marinate. Let's see how we do.
Exactly. It's okay to just leave things and let it be. It's okay. Right. I promise. It's okay. We don't have to change for change's sake.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. So, Sonia, thanks for talking college football with me tonight and every Wednesday, most every Wednesday since the season started. We've had so much fun. Thanks to our lively YouTube crew for coming in and chatting with us. Big Red and Kristen. Lisa has been very quiet, but I think Lisa's frozen.
I think so.
She's not made for the Midwest weather that you and I deal with. You grew up in this weather, so when it gets cold down south and all those people are freaking out, you're like, y'all don't know.
This is like literally what I come to work in is just my hoodie, and I'm just in a t-shirt. I'm like, gal, it's okay. It's gonna be fine.
It's okay. But Lisa's having farm troubles and with the weather and the animals and everything else. So, but thank you to everyone who checks in with us here. We'll miss you on Wednesdays, but you can catch us talking NFL football with Dana and Lisa joining us on Tuesday nights here. We've got another couple months of shows, probably through the end of March, I think. We'll be talking about actually probably through the draft. Yeah. And then we'll recap the draft, and then we'll probably take May and June off like we did last year and just regroup and refresh and try to figure out what craziness our teams are doing. Sonia and I will have a lot better idea of the direction the Browns and the Lions are heading in once we see what they do in the draft, right?
Exactly. And I'm praying for an O-lineman, just praying for an O-lineman, y'all.
And Dana's celebrating. She's getting ready for the Super Bowl. So it's nice we can root for her.
Yes.
So we're rooting for the Seahawks. So thank you guys for a great season.
Yes, we love y'all.
And we are out of here.
Peace out. Bye.